What's good, everybody? This is my second test live stream. I've had a couple of mishaps. Let's try this thing again. Oh, see what's going on here? I got a backwards yin yang going on. Anyway, so let me see if I can get this intro going. I'm learning as I work here. Let's go. Let's start the show. All right, I have no idea what happened. I have no idea what happened, people. I don't know what happened. My shit is lagging. All right. I have no idea what's going on, people. Bear with me. I can't hear anything. Let's see what's going on with my OBS. All right. Well, I'm live, so you know how live things go. There you go. Let's transition that. All right. Yeah. How you like my graphics? That's what's up. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Oh man, this is tough. I don't know how HJ be doing this shit. I can't even think. Word document. All right. So let me just start with what I know, because I don't know what's happening. So I'm gonna get my Word document out. I was gonna do some current news. So last time I was live, I was talking about, what was it, page 61? I was talking about your principles. And it's been a week since, and I was doing some more research and thinking as I'm doing is there's one guy that's called Jeffrey Kaplan on YouTube who's done great work on covering um, your principles. So the last time I was trying to talk about your morals, trying to define it, And I said I would talk more about your values and your ideals. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah, so just to touch up on the morals side of things, um, the question you should be asking yourself to kind of identify your morals is, how would you treat your enemies in your custody? So when you ask that question, excuse me, when you ask that question, it gives you a perspective of, I guess, um, it gives you a perspective of your morals, in the sense that, man, this is quite distracting. I don't know how these YouTubers do this. You probably have two screens and stuff. I need two screens to do this. I'm hearing all kinds of shit. So how would you treat your enemies in your custody is the question. Um, my answer is to get to it is my answer is to treat them how you would like to be treated. And with morality, it's something that it has to be stable, as far as you can't be changing your moral standards every day. But at the same time, it has to be flexible enough to fit your environment. Because if you're like, now you're in a, I guess most people who are listening to me are in a healthy environment, or are watching this are in a pretty much healthy environment, um, or maybe not. So your moral standards pretty much match with you. But let's say you end up in jail, or in a war zone, or I don't know, just something, some in the jungle with other animals. You're probably not going to be moral compatible. Does that make you immoral and them moral, and vice versa? So when you ask this question, you realize what environment you're dealing with. So to to answer that question, how would you treat your enemies in your custody? You would treat them how you would be expected to be treated. So it's important to share morals even with your enemies. It's a good thing when you have the same morals. So then you ask, what is your enemy? Yeah, it's basically somebody that doesn't have the same morals or you with you, or does has the same ideologies as you. So that was moral. So I wanted to get today into values. Check out my previous live stream if you want to know more about uh, morals. I'm going to cover these three, and there's also, before I really get into this, because I'm actually documenting myself really getting into this, because I wrote about it, and now a year later that I'm getting back at it, it's resonating with me, and I really want to get into it. I've been talking to people about it, and they also seem to resonate with what I'm saying. So a couple of words that, if I can find them, it's a whole bunch of words. A couple of words that I think are more like spells if you don't know what they are, what they really mean, and what you're if you're not able to identify um, your own principles, these words will further confuse you. So there's justice, there's ethics, virtue, vice, intrinsic value, truth, dignity, rationality, emotions, the type of emotions there are, and what effects they have on your principles, instrumental value, final value, your health, Health is more of what I'm going to talk about now, is about your values. What is health? Um, Interesting word is supererogatory, as opposed to obligatory. Utilitarianism and the concept of pleasure versus pain, loyalty, authority, and I have finally here dualism versus physicalism. So in this case, dualism meaning it's your body and something else making this happen. And physicalism is that it's just pure a physical action. So those are the things that need to be deciphered in today's age, and I'm gonna tackle that for you guys. I know it's pretty boring stuff, but it's important to have these things. And the church used to take care of these things. I'm not a religious person, but in the past, church used to take care of the principles. It was just instilled in you through fear and respect. Um, but now we're at a point where we separated from it, and um, there's nothing to feed us our principles. So that's why I think it's important. So let's go on with the values. That's one's judgment of what is important in life. So with values, um, I'm trying to uh, better define values, because when people talk about values, they start mentioning morals and ideologies, and they get everything mixed up with each other. But you have to actually um, zoom in on that word and what it actually means and what you're able to value. So what you're able to value, I'm using my notes here if I'm looking down. What you're able to value is physical or material things. It's a total of 3 to 4 things. I'll get into that. So like I can value this cup that I have here, this physical, because of I value it because of what it can do for me, but I actually value it. So it's something that's not sentient. Um, and then there's valuing a sentient being. I don't know what term is more comfortable for the listener. There's a conscious being, sentient, reactive, living, anything that pretty much it's there are words that there are things that cannot be described by words, and these are one of these things. So, but we all have a common understanding to know that we're talking about living and conscious being, whether it be a plant, and but there's levels of consciousness, of course. You could argue that AI is a very basic, could become a very basic level of consciousness, um, just like a plant would be, or a bacteria. It only reacts to certain inputs. So that's number two. And number three is one particular one that I'm having a hard time with, no pun intended, is the actual concept of time. So you value time because it's something that we all are able to I guess perceive. Um, you can also argue that time is a part of nature, therefore the sun and the wind and everything else that we have is also should also be included in that. And I think they should be included in time. But as far as how our society works, time is a very valuable thing. So I want to give it um, a separate classification. Um, you value your time with somebody. You value your time just being alive. So, and the fourth thing, which is I guess, experimental thought of me, because as I'm listening to these and reading these researches about um, values and principles, I see that a lot of people are getting values mixed up with ideals. And when I thought about it deeper, is because there's at some point where these two things actually interconnect. So I value this cup, but I also value the idea of this cup being filled with something I like. So until that idea is manifested, I can't really value it to the degree that I value this actual cup. But I do value the whole process of it. When it comes to valuing ideas and combining them with actual living conscious beings, that's actually more complicated. So then you can also mix in time with it. So you value your time with this conscious being and this material. So it gets really intricate. So I have a subcategory for all of those things, and I call it manifested ideals. So it's a type of value that is it's a I guess it's a group of things happening simultaneously with a conscious being, a material, time, and an action. So I value somebody uh, giving me a massage with their time. So that's when you have the value. So the question with so back to the reading, the question with value for you to know to be able to identify your values is, what would you spend your last dollar on? So in that case, you're identifying most likely something material. You could also spend your last dollar on a living being or time. So that will let you know what your values are. And the other question is, how would you spend your last minutes? So would you spend it using one of these manifested ideals? Would you spend it with your loved one doing this? That's a manifested ideal, but it's still something you value. So it's in a package. And just to go off on a tangent about ideals, ideals is, as the name suggests, it's an idea. It's a thought. It's an individual thought. Sometimes ideals can be shared, and it becomes idealism, ideology when it's shared amongst a group of people. But it starts with one uh, consciousness or conscious being. Um, so the thing about values is that it is great to have um, it is great to have differences in values. So it's good for me to like coffee and you to like tea. It's okay because we get to share. It's also good to have similarities because you get to. Um, I said you get to trade. I meant you get to trade. It's also good to have similarities because you get to share. But on a bigger scale, it's better to have differences because there's only so much of everything. And everybody will find their place and their values in the things that um, they're in proximity to, for example. So if you're in proximity of a beach, you're going to be valuing a beach more than somebody that lives in a mountain, and that's okay. If you guys trade places, you guys can share your values. um, so continue reading. Difference in values allows for prosperous trading when at odds, and sharing when in common. So yeah, I don't want to get too much into idealism right now. Um, Huh. I could share a raw photo, a raw draft of how I visualize these three things that I mentioned, which is idealism, um, values, and morals. Let me see if I can get it. So this is the three circles, and let me see. You see idealism and values here. I should have it upside down. Idealism and values, the place where they interlock. This is where you have manifested ideals. Okay, I still need to identify to have a proper name for what you have here in the middle. But all of these things um, I have names for them. So what I'm trying to do with this is I'm trying to simplify how to be in touch with your principles, because like I said, the words that I mentioned earlier, these are all important words, but they keep throwing them in your faces and keep confusing you with the ethics. And like I said in the last press, ethics is very subjective because it's based on whose morality. So if somebody tells you you're ethical, you're unethical, you should ask them based on who is your authority, who tells you, um, who's able to tell you what is right and what is wrong for you to tell me. So it's very subjective, and we need to. So there's certain words that you can't say to certain people, um, or certain sentences like the one I just said before. Um, Anyways, let me try to switch this up. That's all for um, this topic. I want to see if I can get into current Dutch news before I go offline. Through my Telegram, because I see I can plug in my Telegram. Let's go to the Telegram scene. The transition right here. Yeah, it's up and running. All right. So for all my Dutch viewers or Dutch interested, there's a reason you clicked on Hotep Dutch. Let me see. How's it looking in the OBS? Yes. So I'm just going to read the headline, see if there's anything interesting for today. The Netherlands starts bird flu vaccination trial on newly hatched chicks. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, if there is a God, he would be very angry at these people. Like, how are you gonna vaccinate birds, man? So this doesn't happen in nature. I don't know what we're doing, but all I know is that every year they're dumping, they're getting rid of tons of animals because they have the bird flu, and now they're doing vaccination. It looks like a 22 catch 22 situation. And I'm tired of talking about that type of stuff. And now to compensate, RWE 33 mil, whatever, for reducing coal plant operation in Eemshaven. So this is climate change stuff. I'm going to keep it short. I'm very abstract in how I look at things. The Netherlands is one of the smallest countries, period. So any effort for any climate change is going to have no effect on the world. I don't know what these people are doing. They're wasting time, money, and patience of us. The Hague preparing to receive thousands on budget day with protests on the highway. Budget day. Oh, budget day. They call it snipper. That's when the government decides how much money they're going to spend the next year. And you see a picture of the king and queen because they also decide their allowance. They get an allowance from the people. I don't even want to touch it because it's an offense to speak badly of these people. So I'm just going to skip this. Budget day. Uh-uh. Most, let me see here what we got here. Most Dutch concerned about wealth distribution. 20% can't make ends meet. Well, um, the Dutch is used to be a capitalist society, and then the capitalists got greedy and they made it an oligarchy, and on top of that, there's a monarchy, so it's a mess. And more than 20% of the people, definitely, I don't know the statistics, people are on some type of social uh, welfare, getting subsidies from the Dutch, and for all of that to happen, and we're still getting these problems. It's obvious that this formula isn't working. Anyways, let's move on. Overnight explosions in Amsterdam. The Netherlands recorded 5 attacks on homes and businesses in the country overnight. There are 2 explosions in Amsterdam and one in The Hague and one in Wisconsin. Look, one or both things are happening here. There's like a mafia going on with hand grenades, going and terrorizing their opponents by destroying their businesses. And the other thing that's going on is where are they getting these hand grenades from? So there's a mafia problem. There's those people doing that, and there's also um, agents in special positions who would love to enforce these things in order to do either zoning structures or implement new laws and restrictions and all of that. But a funny thing is how many cameras there are. They never catch these people. Okay. Anyways, let's move on. Almost done here. Got 3 left. Still little trust in Dutch politicians despite new faces in national politics. Still little trust in Dutch politicians despite new faces. So the new faces were supposed to bring in back trust. I don't know where they get their logic from. That would make me even more distrustful. Who trusts new faces? Like, you guys trust my face right now? I'm pretty new. I'm a pretty new face, right? Transavia moving flights abroad due to Schiphol downsizing plans. Ticket prices missing. Have you ever heard of a country that does active campaigns against tourism? Yes, they're making the airport smaller because they don't want so many people coming in here. Ain't that something? I think my takes are too hot for YouTube. IJsselmeer Planetarium in Friesland declared UNESCO World Heritage. This is not interesting at all. Child 3 who died at Empel daycare was employee's daughter. Mm, no comment. The Dutch royals' popularity is still struggling to recover from pandemic scandals. Oh man, they were also victims. All these businesses were suffering from the pandemic, and so is the royal business. Anyways, y'all, I don't know if I'll do this Telegram shit again, or I need to organize some better news. This was boring. All right, but I hope y'all got the message about your values. Do you value your phone? Do you value your phone? Like in Micro in the house or was in the house? I just saw that. Um, do I value my phone? Not really, man. Um, that's a good question. I value that um, it keeps me valuable in a society. But as I've said before in private conversations, I think I was supposed to be born in the 70s, right before the phones came. I was okay with like a walkie-talkie. Like I'm good with a walkie-talkie or a beeper. But when it comes to these check marks and people are super available, I think we hit the threshold where you're so you're so close virtually to this person, but yet you're even more far away. Like somebody will talk to you and then you won't respond till like 2 days later. I do that. That's because I'm complacent about the fact that that person is going to be available at any time for me to contact them, as opposed to if I'm having a radio and it's like, hey, I'm online right now. So this is why I like this live stream thing also. That's also why I try to also only watch live streams, because if I'm gonna do digital, I'm not gonna be at the point where my time is being um, compartmentalized, where everything I'm doing is in the past digitally. So I appreciate live streams, and I appreciate more that you can interact with the people during the live streams. I really like that. That's a bridge back to um, you know, our natural selves, even through all this digitalism. So, no, man, I hate my phone. I hate this whole. I hate the whole thing that I'm always. The only thing that the phone is good for is this false sense of security that if anything happens to you, because the first thing people say when the first thing people say when they don't have their phone is that, what if something happens that you can't reach me? And then what? What else? What else do you need your phone for? So I try my best when I'm in public and when I'm in a group of people, even though it's very demotivating because most people are in their phones. I try to just sit there and I just watch the people in their phones. But I don't go on my phone because I'm outside. No, so fuck my phone. Fuck your phone too. See Jordan. Alright, anyways, y'all. I think I've been online enough. I got 2 viewers. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. That was better than the last time. I lost a subscriber the last time. Good riddance um, for that person, whoever it was. I only like real people. I don't like. Anyways, damn. See, you can't edit this type of shit out. Peace out, y'all. Hotep.